So this is a test. How do you feel about money? You hate it? I'm a little loud. You love it? Yeah. Oh, I thought you loved it was loud. You love the money. You love the money. Okay. You like it. Do you need it? Yes? Do you have enough? Yes? 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 Well, and as we take our offering in our hands, you already know it all. You got it. You got it. Wonderful. You're part of God's abundance. Let's go back to the money part. So, there's enough in your life. And if there's enough, then I have a funny feeling that we really think about money a lot. Do we? And I'm going to suggest that maybe we think about one or two aspects of money more than anything else. What do you think that is? Where to get the next bit, and how much more you need. It's amazing how often we slide into that thinking more about the absence of money than the presence of money or good. I've had such amazing demonstrations sometimes. I've told you stories before, such as a $20 bill appearing out of thin air right at my feet. In Las Vegas, what can I say? And I had just spent my last dollar on steak and eggs for breakfast. Boy, those places are gone. You remember 99-cent steak and eggs? That was pretty good. Yeah. Walked out of the restaurant, had a crosswalk red light, stood there, looked down, $20 bill. Well, did I say, "Thank you, God"? I put my foot on it so nobody else could grab it. Why, what do you think I did? And reached down and picked it up, stuck it in it had nobody's name on it. Well, it did, but it was the picture who was on it, and I didn't think he'd care. Yeah. It's amazing the times that things like that have happened in my life. I have said to some people over the years, I've been divinely protected. I've been divinely provided. I've had lean times, and I've had great times. The lean times, we get through. Our good comes when we remember the source. And that's one of the clues. Because we forget. We look at channels. We look at the job. We look at a pension. We look at this or that. That's where it has to come from. But that's not where it comes from. Those are just channels. And when one dries up, another one opens. And sometimes when we're beating the heck out of this channel that just dried up and we're not looking anywhere else, we're missing the one that's right here. Oh, new abundance. So many times we're really spending a lot of time thinking about how to get more of that stuff called money. Now, I've heard how many times, so many times, money is the root of all evil. You've heard that? That's not correct. What does the Bible say? The love of money is the root of all evil. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying money, enjoying riches, enjoying abundance. But when you make a god of it, in other words, love of money is like marrying the stuff, becoming one with it. Become one with the source, and you'll have all of that you need. But some of us actually do make a god of that stuff. We think about some other things too. We don't think about what we have as much as I think we think about what we don't have. It seems like once I have something, I forget about it until it doesn't work. And I start thinking about the next thing that I want, I think I need. There's a real edge here between two-sided thinking, the human thinking and the spiritual thinking, spiritually aware thinking. There's mental prosperity and there's spiritual prosperity. Now, mental prosperity, what's that look like? I think I know I have enough I can hold on to, and I know that if I check all the bank accounts that I got enough to get by. What's the spiritual prosperity? Doesn't matter what the bank account looks like. Because you have another bank, God's bank. Do you realize in, Oklahoma? There's a bank called Prosperity Bank. Yes. I think it's a hoot. What's a Prosperity Bank? Little paper box. Yeah. Invented by or dreamed up by Lowell Fillmore. And originally it was a way to pay for subscriptions, magazine subscriptions. If you didn't think you had the cash to send in for a subscription, you could ask to have a subscription and a Prosperity Bank. And they were very popular. They would mail you the bank. You'd decide how much you were going to put in it each day, and you put that amount in every day for a month. You did it with a blessing, an affirmative blessing. And at the end of the time you sent the bank back in, they counted it, and they made a note of how much was in it. They maintained files of that. And I did one. I can remember when I did one. First time I ever did a Prosperity Bank. And I thought it was a delight. With great joy. I don't know. I think they were quarters. I think I did quarters. Well, I was a college student. What can I say? You know, I worked part-time and went to school full-time, and yeah. Quarters every day. And I had it next to my bed. And in the morning before I left to go to school, that was what I did. And it was great fun to turn it in and find out how much was in it. At the same time, the surprise was I had more than I had usually had. More came to me. And that makes sense. Remember, 2 weeks ago, Prosperity. What was the rest of the line of the title of the talk? It's all in your mind. What does that kind of exercise do for us? It stretches our thinking. It gives us a different way to look at our prosperity, our lives. To begin to see the presence of God instead of the absence of God. How can I say that? The presence of good. My good is my God is my good. Thank you. What's her name? No. Chicago. No. Emma Curtis Hopkins. Thank you, Sue. One of us needed to know that. Yeah, Emma Curtis Hopkins, the teacher of the Fillmores, and everybody else who's been anybody in New Thought. Yeah. Quite a lady. My good is my God is my good. Even the name God comes from good. So, spiritual prosperity is an awareness of that invisible source of supply. That invisible source that put that $20 right at my feet, right where I would look down and see it, right when I needed to, because we were leaving Las Vegas and I had no money in my pocket for travel, for food or drink or whatever, no money. And then I had $20. Thank you, God. That was a demonstration. Seems like Las Vegas has treated me pretty good. It did better later when it did about $10,450. But 20 was perfect for what I needed to get me home. And it absolutely worked. When we get caught up in the material idea of prosperity, it's what I have, what I've got in my hand, what I've got in my pocket, what I've got in the bank account, this material stuff. When our heads are all wrapped around that, we're not looking at the invisible side of prosperity. We're not looking at the spiritual side of prosperity. We're just looking at the material. And what happens? What's the reality about that? That comes and goes, depending upon the day. The various channels sometimes are disrupted by events in the world. Notice, I have a certain amount in I guess you would call it an IRA. American Century has it. And when all of this corona stuff started, I watched it. Looking at it through material eyes, I went, oh no. Could feel, as the number went down, my stomach fell. But I had to remind myself, the outer appearance did not matter. What happened? Was there less money in any of the accounts? Was there less money in the market? Was there less good in the world or the universe? No. What happened? People got scared. And by getting scared, they went, held on. And that's what made the market go down. Their fear. They stopped investing more. When I reminded myself of that, I just had to turn it over. Father, this is yours. It came from the Creator. It still belongs to the Creator. God wanted me to have a little bit of it. And God will take care of it. I just got a new report. It's right back where it was 3 months ago. Amazing. And I'm very happy. It would be nice if it were, 10, 20 times more. But that's all right. It's back where it started. Or where it was when all of this started. So, the spiritual channel is always there. It never disappears, and there is never less good. It's what we see with our physical eyes, and we start perceiving with our human brains. When you start looking at numbers, or opening a wallet or a purse and say, oops, where's that 20 I thought I had? Oh, I spent that 2 days ago. Whoops. I could have said 100. I should have said 100. Yeah. Anyway, the human thinking is aware of material prosperity, but human thinking doesn't show you the truth about your real, permanent, God-given prosperity. So when we get caught up in this material idea of prosperity, we look around and we see all the I don't have, I can't have, it isn't enough. And that's a problem. It's a problem because if we're saying we don't have enough, I can't afford it, then we're creating more of I can't afford it. It isn't enough. We're investing our thought energy in the absence of God, in the absence of good. I tell you, for many years I tried to make a good living. I really did. And then I decided, how about living a good making? And it made all the difference. Makes all the difference. Reminds me of the Fillmores when they did their dedication and covenant. That they dedicated all the good they had, all the good they hoped to have, to the Spirit of truth and to this unity work. And what did they expect from that? When you make a covenant, there's a portion for you to do and a portion for the other side, God to do. And they expected an abundance of all things necessary for life right here, right now, without making those things the object of their existence. Remember? Love and money, making a god of it, that's making it the object of your existence. Having abundance and having it come to you through the spiritual channels as a result of consciousness, that's a good thing. That's what you want. And that's living a good making. Charles Fillmore said about debt, he said, debt has lack at both ends. Sounds like a candle, doesn't it? Which I burned at both ends many times. But the person owed thinks that he's missing something. Where's the money that you owe me? The person who owes thinks, I don't have enough. I can't pay this. All I've got is all this debt. Sometimes Charles was extremely brilliant in what he said, and on page 120 of Prosperity. Chris, if you would, thank you. We find this to be the law of mind. A thought of debt will produce debt. So long as you believe in debt, you will go into debt and accumulate the burdens that follow that thought. Anybody in debt? No debt? The only one I have is my house. And I'm down to about the last year of payments. And I think by today's standards, my payments are small. 500. I'm sure glad it isn't 1,000, but it isn't. But that's the only debt I have. I can remember when I had $15,000 worth of debt. And the day that dawned on me that all of that was hanging over my head, and all I was doing every month was writing checks to plastic, I said, enough. And I made a concentrated effort to get rid of all of that and to not do that again. And it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Well, if you have to get old for that to happen, that's great. I really like it. Yeah, I'm not afraid to go to the mailbox anymore. You know, can you remember when you didn't want to look in there because probably was not good news? Yeah. When we produce that thought of debt, from being concerned about debt, creating debt, then we accumulate more debt. Nothing like another credit card to pay off a credit card, you know. No, thank you. But your prosperity isn't in the credit card. Your prosperity isn't in winning the lottery. Your prosperity is in you. What I said 3 weeks ago, it's all in your mind. Opening your mind and your heart to the true source of absolute good. I remember the story of J.C. Penney. Seems like he should be around today. Maybe they wouldn't all be closing. He was remarkable. With a name like Penny, he should have changed it to at least $1. But the story about Penny is that he went around giving away dimes. Now, when he was giving away dimes, they meant something. They meant a lot, you know. You could buy stuff for a penny. Now what can you buy with a penny? Can't even buy a stamp. Remember when you could? Sure we do. Yeah. He gave away all these dimes. And what happened? It came back to him in other ways as abundance, riches. There's several people who have been millionaires over the years and said, if you took it all away, I'd have it again. Because they knew the source. They understood the principle of giving and receiving. They knew that as they gave, so it came back to them through other channels in other ways. When I lived at the villa, it's not back there anymore, that little stagnant pond, I think, is it not? Behind the back building, there used to be a little bunch of trees, and in the midst of that was a pond that... Oh, okay, it's a dry hole, thank you. Yeah, nothing like a stagnant pond. What lives there? Not anything you want to swim with. It's lacking life because nothing circulates. There's no new good coming through. It's having to live with what it's got. And as time goes on, it becomes more and more condensed, concentrated guck. And usually you can smell them coming. Yeah. Life has to have flow. And that goes with our prosperity too. If we block it by simply trying to hoard onto, what good does it do it? How much can you hoard? How much can you put away? Oh, you can put away all you can get, but what does it do for you? Remember, they used to say you can't take it with you. You know, there's only so much you can use. Enjoy it. I've known people who bought new furniture and covered it in plastic. How do you like sitting on a plastic sofa in August? Well, one woman I knew, she did this kind of stuff, and I met her husband, and he said, she won't let me sit on anything. What kind of home is that? A showroom? Well, where's the comfort? Where's the joy of enjoying what you have when you're afraid something's going to happen to it? And in life, things happen. But in physical stuff, there is entropy. It all starts aging, so to speak. And that's part of the process. Do you still want the things you wore when you were in the 60s? Wide bell bottoms and tie-dyed shirts, neighbor jackets. They're pretty cool then. They're not so cool anymore. Yeah. Things change, and you want to be part of the renewal. In Matthew chapter 16, now when Jesus came into the district of Caesare'a Philip'pi, he asked his disciples, "Who do men say that I am?" And they said, "Some say John the Baptist, others say Eli'jah, and others Jeremiah or one of the prophets." He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter replied, "You are the Christ, the Son of God, of the living God." And Jesus answered him, "Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the power of death shall not prevail against it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." Nice story, is it not? It's the heat. It doesn't want to stay put. The keys to the kingdom of heaven. I have a picture of them. Have you seen that before? It's a flag, of course. But what kind of flag? That's the papal flag. I have one up there on the stage, that yellow and white thing. That's one of those. That came from when the Pope came to New York many years ago. They had these flags out. I got one of them. So that was actually put out for the Pope. But the crossed keys come from this story. Those crossed keys represent the two tools we have to control our thinking. Denial, where we look at an idea, a belief that we have, and we begin to take the energy out of it. I no longer choose to hold on to this belief. I no longer choose to live with this limitation. I no longer choose to invest my energy in whatever it is. We begin to pull out the energy we've been putting into that. And then the other side of that is, you've taken something out, now you have a vacuum, and you better put something in it. You better fill it, because the universe abhors a vacuum. wants to put something in there right away, and you want it to be what you choose. So, the other key is affirmation. Reminding yourself that God is the only source of supply, and that supply is constant, continuous. It never ends. We close our eyes to it. We look away from it. We look to every other place sometimes before we ever think about looking that way to God. So the one thing it takes, Peter represents faith. And he had faith. So he has these magical keys, which we have to change our thinking, to take charge of what we desire in our lives. One of the vestments that the Pope wears has the crossed keys on the back of it. Where's your prosperity? Well, we keep saying it's all in your mind. It's through the process of thinking that we are rich or poor. It's through the process of thought that we attract our good or we push it away from us. If you go back over your life, I'm sure you will see times where you pushed it away, where you didn't look in the right direction, to the source, and you didn't see the good you needed at the right time. It's all in your mind, and that's the process of denial and affirmation. So if there's any thought in your mind that there isn't enough, that you can't afford something, that you have to do without, right away, grab hold of that and begin to use denial. Deny that that's true about you. Even if nothing happens, you've taken some of that energy away from it. But then follow it up with reminding yourself that God is the source of your supply. And one of the wonderful, Emily Cady doesn't put it in her list of great affirmations, but I do. The Lord is my shepherd. What's the rest of it? I shall not want. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Let's say it together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Now we can say it, but do we believe it? It would be good to keep this in your mind and say as often as you remember, the Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. Wouldn't you like to lie down in those green pastures? Green pastures, that means it's lush with what you need. And if you're a sheep, you want the grass. That's the food you're looking for. And it's abundant because it's all fresh and it's supplied. What did the sheep have to do for it? Take a bite. Accept it. Accept it. There isn't anything in this world that wasn't first an idea. Even pocket fishermen. You remember pocket fishermen? Ron Popeil? It's about that big. You pull out your pocket. Or you could fish anywhere you were because you could carry your pocket fisherman with you. I don't know anybody who ever had one, but I suppose that you could find one at a yard sale somewhere. But everything begins with a divine idea. And what you want to do is start having divine ideas about abundance and richness. Abundance in your life. I don't think I had. Oh, yes, there's one more thing I want to add, and that's the only debt you've got. Well, we lost the I. I owe no one anything but love. That's a denial. And I'd like you to use it. I know I owe no one anything but love. That'll help take the sting out of some of the things you get in the mail. I can remember some really nasty telephone calls. You know, I had a small student loan. And when I started getting calls from the person who wanted to collect that student loan, I think it was $1,500. Oh, was he rude? And he tracked me down where I was working and just got so bad I went to the bank and I borrowed the money to pay it off. Yeah. But still, the reality is, I owed no one anything except love, including that son of Baal. Bless you, son of Baal. Still got to send love. Yeah. Every time you give, you're reaching into the pocket of your mind and laying hold of God's good, opening yourself to even more good in your life. Like a pond, you're allowing more water, fresh water, to come into you, to move through you. You're using the keys to the kingdom. You're opening to the abundant supply of God's kingdom. You're a child of God, created in the image likeness of God. Doesn't get any better than that. So you deserve abundance. You deserve the best. You deserve a good life. So rather than spending time making a good living, let's live a good making.